Conform definiției, politicile de coeziune sunt strategiile Uniunii Europene menite să promoveze o dezvoltare armonioasă și echilibrată între statele membre și regiunile acestora, reducând disparitățile economice și sociale. Așa a fost descris unul dintre pilonii fundamentali ai UE, consacrat încă din Tratatul de la Roma din 1957. Numai că Europa s-a schimbat mult de atunci, iar noi priorități își fac loc pe ordinea de zi, schimbând agenda și destinația inițială a fondurilor de coeziune. Noul exercițiu financiar multianual 2028-2034 este el însuși unul supus provocărilor și discuțiilor, încă din faza de pregătire din anii trecuți. În 2024, reprezentanții Comisiei Europene subliniau că prioritatea noastră este crearea unui cadru național și european mai bun, în care orașele și regiunile să poată adapta politicile de coeziune propriilor necesități, dar fără a pierde din vedere prioritățile europene.
Cohesion policies are at the core of the European Union. They say that it's the glue that keeps the European Union together. And still, as you mentioned, communication has a lack. There is a lack of communication. Can you explain us why? Why is not this kind of policy very well known around Europe?
Well, it's difficult to say. I suspect because the policy has been around for so many years that maybe people have started to get used to it, and so it lacked a bit of sparks and novelty, but it seems to me that a policy that represents a third of the Commission of the Union budget should get the attention of everybody, so that for a question of accountability, to ensure that all the people that are managing this money is under the scrutiny of a public debate and attention of how the money is used. So my plea is get back to inform and communicate about it.
And still there are a lot of people who manage this kind of funds and who are aware that this kind of money are very important for the countries they are coming from. Still, people are saying that maybe these policies should change.
Well, look, I think that the policy needs to modernize and change, as the president has said in her political guidelines. I think that the question will be to find the right balance between preserving some of the key elements of the policies, multi-level governance, its partnership, and introducing all those changes that are needed to make it more flexible, faster, and more simple to be used. So I think this is the debate that we will have over the next months.
Is it going to be? Is it changeable? Because you mentioned the wind of change, which is stronger than ever.
I think all the policy can be changed, and cohesion policy is not the same of 40 years ago. Huh? It has evolved, it has changed. I think that now we are got to a moment in which new priorities emerging, a new competitiveness agenda that is informing the way in which the Union is thinking, will probably require a more fundamental rethinking of how the policy works. But again, without losing its key fundamentals that are, by the way, defined in the Treaty of the Union. So this is where we need to find the right equilibrium between the different point of views and tensions.
In all these years, as you mentioned, also the priorities change. Which are the priorities right now and will be in the next few years?
The new priorities that have emerged over the past years are, for example, in the field of defense, in the field of migration, that has been there for some time, but still, clearly the enlargement that is coming will create new pressure on the budget, and there will be discussion and difficult trade-offs. But I think that for the policy as such, the fundamental question is how to deal, on the one hand, with the transitions that the Union is facing, whether in the field of the green economy, of digitalization, of demography, of the industrial transition that is hitting many sectors and many regions depending on those sectors. And therefore the question is how to construct a policy that addresses those issues, and how regions that are the ones that are benefiting from these resources are ready to engage to address those priorities and those transitions.
This is also because the regions and cities are expecting to be in the heart of these policies. President von der Leyen underlined this as well, but still they say they don't feel like being in the heart of these policies.
I think that the President is being very clear. On the one hand, we need certainly to go toward a simplification and more simple and flexible system, but on the other hand, regions and local authorities will continue to remain at the center of this policy. And so the question over the next few months would be exactly to decide how to merge a more demanding national and European framework with the flexibility that regions and localities will need to have to adapt those priorities to their context. Because what you do in Andalusia is not what you do in Baden-Württemberg or in Sicily. This needs to be adjusted to the preferences and the needs that each region has, but still serving those European priorities.
Fost viceprimar al Budapestei timp de 5 ani, Kata Tüto și-a început mandatul de președinte al Comitetului European al Regiunilor în februarie 2025. Un mandat deloc comod, într-o Europă supusă schimbărilor și provocărilor, dar un mandat având ca prioritate politicile de coeziune dedicate priorităților din diversele orașe și regiuni europene. 2025, the week for regions and cities, and some very strong words, shaping the regions and cities, the future of regions and cities together. How do we transform these words into practice? And you're a local politician. I think that you know very well how to do that.
Yes, well, this week is about what actually we do, local leaders, cities and regions. So what we try to follow up with all the transitions, climate change adaptation. We all have problems with water, too much water, too little water, droughts, floods. We have problems with old infrastructure. We had problems all around with hot summers. We have problems with new species arriving, which are a danger for our forests, for our trees in the city. We have problems with housing. Housing is emerging everywhere, all around Europe, that it's a problem. It's becoming very expensive. It's becoming very impossible for young people to have their homes. It's also a problem with mobility, because we have this amazing program like Erasmus that we encourage young people to move around, have some European idea, but they have no place to live. And of course, there's a digital transformation that is affecting all of us. We see all these news headlines that either you become digital and very artificially intelligent, or you will not be competitive. So there is a constant push. And of course, we have our roads, we have our hospitals, we have our schools, we have problems with not having enough teachers, we have a problem, our region, with the brain drain, with seeing new technologies, new challenges, and never having enough money. We also have very big ambitions to become like circular. What do we mean? That we separately collect waste, that we want clean cities, we want healthy food, we want energy security. Energy is a very important issue for our citizens, so they are able to heat their homes, cool their homes. That's more and more a problem. So this is what we do. A lot of problems, never enough money, but we do our best as local leaders from the towns to the regions.
It's already a tradition, like every single year, to launch the new report on regions and cities. You have the report on 2025. How does it look? I remember you at the ceremony of the opening ceremony saying that sometimes it looks like a mess. Europe looks like a mess. It's very much pain there, very many problems. But on the other hand, we have solutions.
Yes. What I try to call the attention, because here this week, this is our week, the local leaders, that our role, our duty, our responsibility is to look inside, because there's a lot of mess outside, beyond our borders. Everything I grew up in, it's changing. The future seems very uncertain. There's a lot of attention towards what is happening outside in the world. But I said that we have to keep Europe strong also from the inside. So yes, keeping the borders strong, very important. doing everything for peace, very important. But our role is to look at what is happening with our citizens, because they have their pains. There is a lot of pain outside, but there is pain inside, there is suffering inside. And if we don't look inside, and if we don't see how our citizens are doing, how our cities doing, how our towns are doing, if we don't invest money, energy, attention, then we can put a lot of money on the borders and protect Europe from the drones, but it can collapse from the inside. So this is our role, that our attention has to be focused what is happening in.
I'll ask you now, as the president of COR, how do you convince the local leaders to be more involved in this relation with Europe? Because you and we all consider the European, the local leaders, the regional leaders, as being the core of everything, because they are very close to the citizen. But on the other hand, they have to be very much connected to Europe. And this is what you're doing at the Committee of the Regions. How do you convince more local leaders to be part of it, to work together?
We have the members who are here in the Committee of the Regions. With, if I add all together the members, it's more than 700 politicians. But of course, we have around 1 million local councillors all around Europe. We are forming horizontal connections with them. We have a lot of associations, a lot of places where they can connect, because we do this constant translation, translating European, very ambitious but very distant policies into pipelines, into schools, into new jobs, into local energy production. And also we are bringing back our realities. So this is the translation, but what is the tool that is helping us, local leaders? The most important European tool that was designed to help this transition is called cohesion policy. And it is not a charity fund, it's not a solidarity fund. Cohesion policy was designed to help the transition of every region, because every region, it's not just our regions in Central Europe, but it's also Germany, it's also France, also the Netherlands.
Problems are everywhere.
Everywhere, and everybody has their problems in demography, in the digital transition, in the climate transition. If I just look at the Netherlands, they've always had a battle with water, and now it's changing because they are protecting from the floods, but also they have the droughts. So everybody is in transition. Of course, our region is totally all the time running. Romania, Hungary, we know that our life is a constant running to catch up, and not to leave to have our people stay at home. I think it's very important, because it's good that they go and understand and learn, but we need our people to stay at home, in the schools, in the factories, in the villages, in the cities. So there are a lot of things we need help in. And cohesion policy is the tool, is the helping hand that has to be all around Europe to help local leaders in this transition.
On the other hand, we have some new priorities rising, because the world we live in changed a lot in 2, 3, 4 years, and there are more and new priorities to cover.
And there always will be. I don't think that the world will slow down. So I'm in local politics since 20-something years, and the world and the transformation is just getting faster and faster. And it's really hard to keep up. And we feel it, not just the leaders, but our citizens. We feel it, our people feel that a lot of people are tired, because we constantly tell them that it is urgent. You have to do it now, today, yesterday, and run faster. But that's impossible. So what we represent here is that we know where we have to go. We see all the challenges. But you need to trust the local leaders, that they will find a path that works for their citizens, how fast they can run, what do they need to not to give up in this constant running. And it's clear they need more resources, they need more money, more investment, and more freedom, flexibility, this is how we call it, to cut their own path for their communities.
You constantly speak obviously about money because it's about money. All the problems can be solved maybe with money. And of course we have to speak about the next MFF because it's a tough subject at the moment because everybody is talking about centralizing it. Of course the local leaders do not want it. And I want you to be more specific on that because you got the chance to talk to your colleagues all around Europe. Yes. And the problems are somehow the same.
I'll try to give an overview on where is the tension. We think, especially from cities and regions level, of the European budget as something very big. Maybe it looks big from Bucharest, it looks maybe big from Budapest, but in reality, the European budget is not the sum of the EU 27 member states' budget. It is only around 1% of the GDP of the European Union. And this 1% is put together to keep the Union strong from the inside, to glue it together. That's very important. That is the main role of this money. The problem is that there are so many more problems and they're coming. And because of the loss of trust in the world, loss of cooperation, because of war, because of trade wars, everything is getting more expensive. It's clear that when there's cooperation, everybody has a surplus, everybody wins. When cooperation is lost, when trust is lost, everybody pays more. This is what we see. But it's really hard that, okay, who will pay more? Because everybody's struggling. We see it from the citizens level, we see it in the communities, in the towns, in the cities, regions. So there's a constant tension between all the levels between the people, businesses, and the state. Because we also have this constant dialogue on, yes, security, we have to invest in security, which means we need to collect more money to invest in security, in energy security, not to have blackouts, to have secure water, to have healthy food inside, yes. But it means we need to invest more. But where do we take the money from? A lot of people are looking at businesses, but then businesses say, you say you have to be more competitive. But if you take more money from us, businesses, how can we be more competitive? If there are more environmental regulations, how can we be more competitive? But if we remove the regulations, how do we make sure our citizens have safe and clear water and safe and healthy food and a place to live? It's a constant tension. That is the reality of every day. But the new budget proposal is about taking out glue from the inside, from cohesion, the tool that helps every region to run, and put it into defense and competitiveness, which maybe will help some regions to become more competitive, who gets supercomputers, who get data centers, who get a space industry gigafactory. It will be some regions, but others will be left behind. This is a risk that is happening. Maybe, yes, we put more money in the defense industry, and yes, we will be producing more drones, but we take it out from where do we take it out? We take it out from cities and regions, from homes, from supporting renovation, from local energy production. So it's not an easy thing. It's a constant tension. And what we say, that we cannot let Europe be hollowed out from the inside. We cannot have a future where some regions have people who live there, others don't. When we have regions who are competitive and others are not. So we need to keep the social, economic, and territorial fabric together, and we need to invest in the local leadership.
Tailor-made solutions, this is what you were asking these days. Is it the solution?
Yes, but what does it mean? It means, because you cannot it's, you know, it's not a confection, one size produced by the European Commission, because how could it be? We are so different. Not because just our languages and cultures and history, that's also important, but it's about the development. We both know Hungary, Romania, we know that for us catching up, others have been on the green and digital and market economy road for a long time. We have to run very fast, invest a lot of energy. It's difficult, it's very different for us. And we see a lot of success stories. We've all seen in the whole region how cohesion policy transformed. We've built hospitals, we invested in schools, we invested in roads, we invested in railways, we invested in buses, in tram lines, in metro lines, in wastewater system, in waste collection system. So many things helped this transformation, and we don't know how could we do it without it. So this is what we see. We see the success stories, we see the challenges, but we know that we need the flexibility because a lot of problems are there. And you can never, ever forget that if you don't have the citizens coming with you, then any plan, it won't work because they will stay stuck.
And still, the citizens have to understand that the stories are successful because, on the other hand, we know the stories from our own countries, Romania or Hungary, where there are a lot of people having kind of hate against Europe, against European institutions. Why? Because Europe is not very well communicated, because the politicians do this. Why?
This is the responsibility of the politicians. Even in my country, I'm not talking about Romania, I don't know, but in my country it's clear, but I always tell all over Europe, it is our role, the local leaders, national leaders, because we understand that it is, I cannot imagine how to work, function and prosper without the European Union, because we cannot do it alone. That's clear. So it is our role to keep our European Union strong and healthy, and using this populist scapegoating that all your problems all come from a very simple problem, it's all the Brussels bureaucrats. Every politician knows that's not true. So we shouldn't weaken our common home because of short-term political gains. That is a very dangerous game.
Getting back to your work here as the president, I just want to ask you one more question. Which are the priorities on your presidency?
The most important is now cohesion policy. To have a cohesion policy in the future that goes to all regions, that is designed by the local level, designed by mayors, designed by local communities, that still keeps this direct connection, this direct channel with the European Union and the territories and its people. That is the main value.